Well, hello everyone and welcome. This is the start of season 3 of our Same Old Lions franchise. And I can confirm that after 2 seasons, we definitely picked the right name for this franchise stream. Because after 2 seasons, we're the Same Old Lions. I think we've won a total of 7 games in 2 years. All-Madden, custom sliders. Those sliders are up on Operation Sports. This won't be a gameplay stream today, but instead just kind of a season recap of the 2021 season. It'll be digging into free agency, draft prep, all of the kind of the off-season things that one can do, I guess you could say, as we kind of dig deeper in. So again, this is a really good video to take a look at, one, just general free agent and off-season prep, but also what are things in Madden start to look like a few seasons in? How does the game hold up and whatnot? So any questions you have, whether it's here live or most people see this in the archive after it's been finished and processed and everything, please ask away. You can also ask on the Operation Sports slider thread, or you can ask me on Twitter. My handle on Twitter is @MikeLowe47. So I'm also showing off my new Lions hat, as you may see here. Just got it in the mail here. It's hard to find decent looking Lions gear. I mean, I like the Lions colors, but like that Honolulu blue isn't just something you want to kind of be rocking all over town usually. And so it's been a little tough. It's a throwback. I believe this is a logo from the 1950s for the Lions. It's kind of hard to see probably, but the last time the Lions won a championship, right, in the late 50s. So before the Super Bowl was even a thing. So here we are. We're going to start by recapping the end of the season, which I'm not even sure if we're going to get a chance to see a ton of that stuff. Oh yeah, we can. So let's start with, I guess, just standings. You may recall that we had the first-round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns. So kind of working backwards, the Cleveland Browns did it. They won the Super Bowl. So they went to the Super Bowl in 2020. They lost. They went back and they won. Same Old Lions. Whose first-round pick do we have? The Browns, who won the Super Bowl. So go figure. But let's just go division by division here. AFC North, you can see there they are, the Browns, 11-5. Who, by the way, Baker Mayfield is an unrestricted free agent in this upcoming offseason here. You have the Ravens. 10-6 made the playoffs. Steelers at 8-8 with a rookie quarterback, the second quarterback taken, Cameron Hopkins, who is the only the top 3 quarterbacks, including the one we picked in the second round, who has any dev trait worth mentioning that's above normal. So he is, I believe, I think he's a superstar actually. So he takes his team to the playoffs. So good for them. So 3 teams out of the AFC North made the playoffs. The Jaguars, perhaps surprising. Gardner Minshew takes the Jaguars into 11-5 season. The Titans have a 10-6 season. In the AFC, the Bills make the playoffs at 11-5, and then look at this division here, just really a transition here of sorts. But the Bills definitely the most dominant team this year. And then in the AFC West, the Chiefs at 8-8. Again, kind of a surprise how bad this division is. But the Chiefs finished 2021 at 8-8. And that's the last team to make the playoffs there in the AFC, and I believe they actually went to the AFC Championship game, if I'm not mistaken. So, NFC North, yours truly division here. The Bears win it at 11-5. Again, we have some, I guess, good news in a way. Rodgers is not retired yet, but I mean, it's not as bad as it may look. So we won 3 games in the 2020 season. We won 4 games this year. Really could have been very, very close to 7-9, if not 8-8 this year. We had a rookie quarterback starting half the year, so that's what you'd expect to see probably on All-Madden difficulty. We have the 3rd pick in the draft again this year. We also have the 32nd pick in the draft this year, and then I guess pick 35 as well. So we have some very early picks that will be very, very valuable to this team, and also allow us to not have to dig too deep into the pocketbooks for free agency. I've identified some targets that we're going to talk about, but the last thing that a bad team needs to be doing is dumping a ton of money into free agency, and we'll talk more about that strategy later on. So as we continue here, the NFC South, the Saints 11-5. Drew Brees has retired now. Buccaneers 11-5. I don't think Tom Brady has retired yet. I will go double check, but I don't recall seeing his name in the retirement list, I guess you could say. So kind of surprising that he is still around. The NFC East, Eagles 10-6, Cowboys 9-7 make the playoffs. And in the NFC West, Cardinals at 10-6. The Cardinals made it to the Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl. And the 49ers at 9-7. No ties, right? It's nice. I'm glad they finally patched that there. But let's take a look really quick, because I just brought him up. Is Tom Brady still in this franchise? In the year approaching the 2022 season. He is. So at age 45, here he is. He's down to an 80 overall. He had a hell of a year. I believe he won the MVP. So if we look at the awards here, 2021 Best Quarterback, Offensive Player of the Year, and MVP. He is back, folks. He is back yet again there. So at age 45, Tom Brady, probably part owner of the team by now. So that was a look around there. As we look at some stats, I mean, stats were just kind of, there was some just a bit of some wonky stuff here. I mean, it really takes 2 seasons in this game. You think about it, there's only 30-something games to really get a good handle on how the sliders are looking. But if we look at total offense, Saints had the best offense, Dolphins towards the bottom. If we kind of scroll to where we find the Lions, we're kind of middle of the league there, 5,500 yards. Passing offense, again, Dolphins the worst, Buccaneers the best. If we scroll down, let's see where the Lions fall. We actually had a pretty much improved passing offense, and you'll see why in a little bit. But the Lions were able to pass the ball pretty well. Top rushing offense, the Cowboys, almost 2,300 yards. Panthers, honorable mention there. Let's see where the Lions ranked. Kind of middle bottom there, about 1,600 yards. Points per game, Dolphins, boy, they had a rough year, right? Tua just not getting the job done with the Dolphins. We should take a look at him. You can see the Lions there towards the bottom, not even 21 points a game. Again, rookie quarterback starting about half the year. It's to be expected. The Buccaneers and Saints, Cowboys, Browns, all putting up massive points. Again, the Browns did win the Super Bowl. Passing touchdowns, Lions had 21, as you can see there, to their 14 rushing. 49 touchdowns for the Bucs. Cowboys had 25. All right, so again, just looking here, first downs, Lions kind of towards the bottom, again, to be expected. So our offense actually improved with the rookie quarterback, believe it or not. Our offense was pretty bad in 2020. How about total defense? Jets' worst defense in the league. Best was the Patriots. Only about 1,000 yards separating those two. So again, a lot of parity as we look at defense. Again, our defense, pretty bad, right? Towards the bottom. Best pass defense, 3,200 yards. Patriots, Buccaneers, 4,400. So again, just over about 1,000 yards. Our pass defense definitely improved a lot. Okudah's been much, much better. Made some slider tweaks today that I posted that I think are going to help shore up a couple things with that. But under 4,000 yards passing, which is not good, but I mean, kind of middle of the road here. You can see about 3,900 yards. Rush defense, best rush defense in the league, the Ravens. Worst, the Falcons. We're the Lions. We were towards the top of this list in a bad way. We're still up there. So even with Joe Toller, who made the Pro Bowl as a rookie, drafted 31st overall last year as we traded down. That's how we got the Browns pick. Drafted him 31st overall. I think he ended up, a crazy amount of sacks, way too many. But again, as a team, we'll look at that in a second here. We had 50 team sacks, which was tied for the NFL lead. And some of that's just the coverage was honestly too tight. So it's finding that balance, right, of like you want the quarterback to get rid of the ball, but you don't want him completing 85% of passes every single game, right? So still looking for that balance a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at. That has started to trend upwards. Part of that, too, is the last game. We played a rookie quarterback with Washington, who was the second overall pick in the draft, starting over Haskins, and he took like 8 sacks that game. It was just crazy coverage sacks everywhere. So anyway, so our rush defense still really bad after drafting Joe Toller, after him making a Pro Bowl as a rookie. So that's been really, really exciting. Points against, we are dead last. No one gave up more points than the Detroit Lions in 2021. Oddly enough, we were tied again for the lead in sacks with 50 sacks. Fumble numbers are wrong. This is a stat that the Madden game calculates wrong. If you're not aware, it times these by 2. You'll never see an AI team that's had all their games simulated have an odd number. The reason the Bucs have an odd number and Washington's, we played them, right? So in a played game, they get counted normally. In a simulated game, they're always times 2. So when you look at ours, we had 2. We're actually on par with these teams here, right? So in case you weren't aware of that. I've increased interceptions throughout the year. I had it too low in the beginning. That's one of the reasons you see the Lions kind of dead last. Well, they are dead last in interceptions. So that's been tweaked in the slider set over the last few weeks here. So defense, again, just bad. Offense has improved, but defense bad. Third down percentages. This game has pretty high percentages across the board, but we were towards the bottom there. As far as attempts, we had a lot. So really, what does that tell me? That tells me that we're not getting enough chunk plays on first and second down. We're creating too many third downs. Maybe that's being a little bit too conservative on offense. It's usually one reason you're going to see that. Red zone efficiency doesn't tell us a whole lot. Penalties, of course, I mean, good luck. I have the penalties at 99. I mean, good luck getting any more penalties than this. So, but yeah, things look good. Again, we threw our share of interceptions this year, but it wasn't, terribly crazy. Just over 1 a game or so on average, and that was Stafford just being brutal beginning of the year. The rookie actually did okay. It's just one of those years. We had some interesting, yearly awards here. I mentioned Brady wins the MVP. Coach of the Year goes to Sean McDermott of the Bills. The NFC, again, Brady, Offensive Player of the Year. Khalil Mack, Defensive Player. Offensive Rookie is Tyrell Jefferson. He was the second pick in the draft. I mentioned he's the guy who took like 8 sacks last game. But check out second and third. Nick Escobar, our second-round pick, and Pierre Griffin, our third-round pick, come in second and third here. We're going to take a closer look at these guys here. They've been a really, really pleasant surprise. Defensive Rookie of the Year is a guy named Jelon Norwood. He is, I believe, a safety for the Eagles. You can see the Lions there. Joe Toller, who I mentioned, made the Pro Bowl, coming in third, Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, let's see, best quarterback, and Brady, best running back, Ezekiel Elliott. There wasn't really anything too surprising here. Kenny Galladay, third, for best receiver. On a losing team, it's pretty easy to rack up a lot of yardage. Pierre Griffin ends up being 10th best receiver in the NFC. So we had 2 top 10 receivers on this team. Again, losing, playing from behind, having to throw a lot. That's some of that. No linemen for the Lions. Of course, Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox. Joe Toller ends up 9th. So that's exciting to see. And I don't think Okudah was on a list anywhere. No, he did lead the league in pass breakups, though. So pretty exciting stuff there. So I did see something pop up in the chat here. I want to make sure I take a quick look. If you do have questions, guys, just let me know. I was wrong. I thought there was a something there in the chat. Let me just check one more time. I guess not. Anyway, so player stats. Again, we're not going to dig too deep, but you can see the rookie versus Stafford. Stafford just is so bad. He's so hard to use in Madden. I love Stafford in real life, but he's just a disaster. Like the last few Maddens, it's just impossible to play with him. But the rookie did pretty well. He did throw 2 picks in the last game of the year, so we did go into the last game 13-6 touchdown to interception ratio through 2 picks that last game. But overall finished pretty strong for a rookie, I would say. Rushing, again, we kind of had a bit of a three-headed. You're not going to see. The free agents have fallen off, right? So Phillip Lindsay had the most yardage. He had about 600 or 700 himself. These guys split carries a lot. But I mentioned the receivers, right? Look at this. 2 1,200-yard receivers for the Lions. Pierre Griffin, just a 70-something overall. Just outstanding. Almost could have made the Pro Bowl himself had he had a few more touchdowns. Galladay ends up making the Pro Bowl with the touchdowns being factored in. So Griffin did not start the beginning of the year. You can see here he has far less snaps. But just remarkable. Led our team in catches. One of the goals I'm trying to do is I don't really want to beef up our receivers too much because I want to start using Hockenson more. Specifically, I think underneath. He's just not a good short route runner, though, is kind of the problem. So that's something this team needs, is somebody who can run some underneath routes. Because, that's Swift. Because even Griffin just doesn't have a lot of underneath route running ability. He's pretty much just, burn it with 96, run deep, and just run underneath the ball, which he did. Just a phenomenal job of. Galladay, again, can run decent short routes. 86, so he's really our best option there. So at least we have something that can work underneath. So they're kind of a nice 1-2. Again, physical receiver, can run short routes, can really run anything. Griffin can just burn. stretch the defense, and then hopefully we can start working Hawkinson and Swift in even more than they were, because I mean certainly we want to see more catches than 30 catches out of our first round pick tight end that Bob Quinn for some reason thought was a good idea to take. Nothing to really report here. Second leader in tackles on the season was Jamie Collins. He might be back next year. He could be a cap casualty. It just kind of depends how things go. And look at this, Joe Toller, 16.5 sacks. What the hell? The pressure this guy brought up the middle was unreal. He was the highest rated player in the draft when we took him. He was a 78. Normal dev, took him at 31 overall. He was the top talent as far as just straight rating in the draft. So just has a monster year. Ends up making the Pro Bowl. So you can see he gets the huge legacy score. He gets the huge amount of XP. He had like 2 upgrades at the end of the season here. So, even though you don't get the dev trait with that guy, I mean, he keeps producing like that. He's going to be just fine. So, passes defended. I said Okuda led the NFL. Pass deflections, that's something I'm actually trying to just peter back a little bit and actually bump in interceptions a little with the sliders. So, Okuda's at an 84 overall now. Again, just having a nice career so far, but I would like to see him really take that next step moving forward. So, again, that's just kind of a look of how things are shaping up, I guess, around the league. We should have won. I mean, we should have won more games both years. It's kind of surprising, honestly, but it is what it is, as they say. So, let's preview free agency because I have a couple ideas for this team. First off, actually, before we do that, let me show you a couple cap casualties that may be happening here with the Lions very, very quickly. So if you sort by savings, right, you can start to see which players you could save the most money on. And you want to look at this with this other column, which is the penalty, right? So, for instance, I could cut Matthew Stafford at this point. I would save $22.5 million. The penalty is 1.7, but I'm still saving $22.5 million. Stafford's gone. As much as I love him, he's gone. We're not paying a backup quarterback $22.5 million. If we have him on the trade block, he would be the second best quarterback available after Baker Mayfield. So I'm hoping we can hold on to him and he could be my last cut, or we just end up trading him and try to get something for him because a team could probably still use him with how weak the quarterback free agent class is this year with really only one quarterback out there that teams will be fighting over. After him, I mentioned Jamie Collins could be a cap casualty. The crazy part is, I mean, even at his age here, he's 32 now, he's only a 76, but he's still the best pass coverage linebacker that we have. He's not great, but he's there. Truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised if we do cut him, but we just can't do it yet because we don't have much behind him at all. He would save us, again, $10 million. And again, if you look at the Lions linebacker situation at this point, we have, I think, a 6th round pick last year. I think it's Tavon Stewart. A nice player, but he's not a guy who's going to be in coverage, so he's not really a guy who's going to be able to take over. Tavai is also a guy that we could end up cutting. We'll see. Probably have him around, though, for some depth. And then, again, Collins. So, I mean, it's very thin. We typically only use two linebackers, but we no longer have the 3 dominant corners we had before. We're down to just 2, which is fine. I like Aurorier, but we also have to be aware that we're going to be mixing in linebackers probably a little bit more, and again, it's by far our biggest weakness on defense. So again, that's an area we're looking to upgrade. As far as team upgrades, right? As we just kind of look through position by position, and then we'll look at the free agent setup. So Nick Escobar, right now, guys, he's who I'm rolling with next year. I mean, there's a top quarterback. He might fall to us at 3. He probably will. It's going to be a tough call. I kind of hope he's already picked by the time we pick because I don't want to have to make that decision. But Nick Escobar, Stafford will be gone. Halfback, I'm perfectly fine going with these 3 guys, right? We have DeAndre Swift as our elusive starter. Bo Scarborough, who's our power back, who can come in on goal lines. And this guy I got in the 5th round last year, Theo Thomas, who is our receiving back. So I am totally fine with that. I'm even fine with using Ty Johnson as a 4th back here. Again, just kind of as our backup halfback 2. totally fine with that. I don't want to invest a ton of money into running backs, honestly. There's also a couple guys I've scouted that are going to be available in the draft late, and get one of these guys in the mix. So we're good at halfback. Fullback, I don't give a crap about. We'll grab somebody in free agency late. Receiver, we're going to need to do something, but it's weird because, Griffin, you'd almost think like, boy, he'd be a great slot receiver, but he's so good. You can't bench a guy who had 1,200 yards and 83 catches. You just can't do it. So I do want to get a receiver to kind of play in that slot role. It's not going to be Quentin Cephas because, again, he's just not a very good short route runner. So he's just depth. So again, but it'll be something we take a look after the draft. We see what free agents are out there, kind of similar to what we did with Marcus Goodwin and Julian Edelman, who was on the team last year. So we'll see what shakes out there. But we have the 2 starters for now. I'm perfectly fine, especially with Hawkinson still there, letting those guys be starters. We'll end up probably cutting a tight end or practice squatting one of these guys. But TJ Hawkinson, again, it's kind of a make or break year for him, whether he gets an extension or not. We'll have to see. We need him to start producing more, and part of that is just me getting him involved more. Taylor Decker, he's going to be our left tackle for a little bit. We're not going to save any money by cutting him. And again, this is a huge contract that the Lions in real life gave out to him. So we're riding with Taylor Decker for now. Left guard, we started a rookie who I believe was our 4th-round pick. He started off very, very rough. He's not really a scheme fit for us, but he recovered and played okay. And so he gives us kind of a power run option there. He can pull a lot and things like this and kind of create some power running situations. But he's 23. He'll be a 70 overall soon, so that's nice. I mean, for now, he's our starter. It's just how it's going to be. We ended up franchise tagging Ragnow. We could not get an extension done with him, so he has been franchised, making a ton of money, but not terrible. He is when we weighed this option, right, this is something you can take a look at yourself. He's the 6th best center. And so when you do a franchise tag, it takes the average of the top 5 players. So it's not the top salary at center. It's not the 2nd or 3rd. It's not even the average. It's the average of the top 5. And so to me, that made a lot of sense. He's the 6th ranked center. We're kind of paying, the value you'd expect. It's a 1-year deal. It gives us a chance to try and re-up him in this upcoming season here. Right guard, potentially another position we could upgrade. Although Jonah Jackson is 25, he's actually been really, really good in real life, by the way, for the Lions as a rookie. But 68 overall for him. Could you roll with a guy like this? Could, but certainly, again, interior line is a spot we're looking to upgrade, but it's also a spot I don't really want to spend a ton of money on, and especially I don't want to go sign a 31-year-old 76, right? When you look at Dakota Reeves, who's he's only a 71, but he's only 23. You're better to use that spot to develop him than sign some 31-year-old guy, right? By the way, I do have Michael Jordan on my team, in case you're wondering. He's not the Michael Jordan. Just wanted to clarify that there. He is not, although they are almost the same height. But I don't think Michael Jordan, even in his older age now, I don't think he's topping 312 at this point. But anyway, so Jonah Jackson it's kind of a toss-up, because if he was like 21, I'd probably just start him. But he's 25, so he's not old. He's not old at all. I mean, he's still young. But you kind of wish like he was like a 72 or something, or 73, because then I would be comfortable. So right guard is a spot. It's weird because he is a scheme fit. He's going to be a 69 overall soon, whereas you have Dakota, who is not a scheme fit, but for a 4th-round pick, I mean, he's a good player for us. He's just not a good fit for us. So I don't know. I don't exactly know what I'm doing at guard just yet. Right tackle, we have our big free agent, really the only huge splash we did last year, which is, I believe his name's Taylor Motton. Good player, has done a nice job, Western Michigan grad, and again, or I don't know if he's a grad or not, but probably. Not many players come out of the MAC early. But anyway, Tyler Motton, former Bronco of Western Michigan, coming back to the state of Michigan to play football. Ty, I forgot to mention him. He's a guy we'll be cutting for sure. You can see his contract, just albatross of a contract that Bob Quinn signed him to be a backup lineman. Cool. So again, that's a look at the offense. Let me check the chat, because I saw something pop up there. Hey, Ryan. Waking up overseas. Good morning, Ryan. I think Ryan's off this week, so exciting there. Ryan's in Morocco. So, yeah, it's weird that it's tomorrow for you. That's just it's a strange thing, but So anyway, so let's see. So we're looking at the defense now. So Deshaun Hand is actually going to be playing defensive tackle for us, right? We have a lot of left ends here, as you can see. He's a scheme fit at left end. So, and by the way, I don't edit the scheme fits. The AI doesn't do it. I'm not going to take 75 hours to go through and edit all these teams every year, and after they sign free agents, and after they draft, and I'm just not going to do it. It is until the game fixes it. It's just how it's going to be for me. So I admit I started doing it before the stream. I went through and I updated all the team's offensive tackles at least. I mean, the interior linemen are all. It didn't really matter where you put them because they're the same archetype or scheme fit usually. But I adjusted left and right tackles, and it was tedious. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. I tried it. It wasn't for me. Anyway, Deshaun Hand, luckily for us, is a run stopper left end. So he's a scheme fit, quote unquote, but he's going to play defensive tackle for us. So he's going to get the benefit of being a scheme fit. But he's a bit undersized, 297, but he's going to move in, and he will now be playing defensive tackle along with Joe Toller. We let Danny Shelton walk. I didn't want to pay him $10 million, and we had Hand. Julian Okora, we let Romeo Okora walk. Julian had a nice year as a second-year player there. And, again, put him into that spot, kind of trial by fire. Had 3 sacks as a rookie, and then upped it to 10 last year. So, some of this, again, coverage sacks and whatnot. But as we look at this position of like, well, do we want to have Julian play right end? Do we want to bring someone else in? I mean, he's doing okay, especially when you have your interior linemen getting pressure like they've been. Feliz is a guy we drafted late, I believe in the 7th round, maybe. I can't remember. I don't remember where no, he actually might have been. We had 2 third-round picks. I think he might have been the other third-round pick we got. So again, he is a guy we're playing on the right end. Again, I would edit this guy's position if I was in an online league, and I recommend doing that, but I don't want to give myself special advantages over the AI. It's already easier enough. It's already easy enough to build a better team than the AI teams do. So anyway, James Feliz. So we kind of have a nice 1-2 punch here with Okora, Feliz. They're both 24. They're guys who can kind of rotate in at right end for us and be speed rushers. So that works out well. Again, Brian's just kind of a filler. Nothing really to report here other than you notice we actually don't have a starting left end because these guys are used on the right. On the left-hand side is Deshaun Hand. However, the guy we put on the other side actually is Trey Flowers, so we do have someone there. And so our defensive line is okay. If we upgrade, it would be to kind of bump these 2 guys out who I like. But again, to get a dominant pass rusher, which there are a couple guys at the top of the draft who would fit that. We saw Joe Toller, and I mentioned Hand, so again, those are our tackles there. Linebacker we looked at earlier, I mean, it's a weakness for sure, and we felt it. Our defense is bad. Our run defense is bad. And so we have to overcommit to the run, and that leaves us susceptible to the pass, and it's been rough. So as much as I don't really place a ton of like huge value on like, draft a linebacker top 5, that's not something I'm going to typically be doing. If there's holes we can fill, which, spoiler alert, there are a few players that I'm pursuing in free agency that I think can beef this area up, that's what we want to be doing. So cornerback, again, we got Coleman, Okuda. It's a nice 1-2 punch. I really like Amani Oruwariye. I like this guy when he's at Penn State. I really like him with the Lions in real life. If we have to roll with him as a corner 3, I'm actually okay with it because we do play a little bit more man. I like his speed. He's just a guy, he can cover. He can do just fine. He can press a little bit, so he's not bad at all. If we have to roll with him as our corner, or our nickel back, I should say, I think we'd be okay with that. So safety, this is an area, again, I'm looking to upgrade. Duron Harmon, not really thrilled. I signed him an extension. It was only 2 years, so he's only got 1 year left, but you can see we have a pretty nice savings here, and I think this is a spot that I would like to upgrade. Just not loving Duron Harmon, and as bad as our defense has been, that's a spot we could upgrade. Tracy Walker isn't really materializing as well as I thought. He's still a decent player. He's probably, honestly, in real life, he's a better fit at free safety, but in this game, he's not much of a coverage guy, and really when you have a guy who can do zone and man kind of similarly, they're a better fit at strong safety because they're matching up in man coverage more than the free safety is in zone, if that makes sense. So he's actually kind of set up here, but the problem is he's just not a very good run stopper. His pursuit's not great, his hit power is not great, his tackling's not great, his block shedding's horrendous, right? So it's kind of a weird mix. He's really more built to be our zone safety, but his zone rating is also not that good. So I don't know. He is what he is. He's a player that's going to be starting for us, it looks like. So our kicker, Joey Sly, nothing surprising there other than his kick power is crazy. His accuracy has been brutal. But 98 kick power, so he's been fun to play with, but he's been pretty sporadic. And we need a punter, which we'll get before the preseason. So there's a look at the team. Right now, let's take a look at free agency. And we'll just go right through. We'll just go right through the top here. And you can look at the top available players. There are a lot more great players in this free agency than there were last year. The good news, if you're watching the stream. The bad news is I'm probably not going to be pursuing many of these guys. I said earlier I'd kind of get into the details of how I handle free agency, especially in football. Football is a weird sport when it comes to big contracts, right? Careers are short, injuries are plentiful, and the last thing a bad team should be doing is dropping a ton of money into free agency. To me, dropping a huge check to a guy like Davante Adams, that's something you do when you're a playoff team, you got to get over the hump, or you were in the Final Four this year, and you're just like, listen, we got the money, this is it, we're making our push, we're getting Davante Adams, or we're getting J.J. Watt, or we're getting Mitchell Schwartz, or whatever, right? That's when you do that. You do not go out and get a 33-year-old J.J. Watt when you've won 7 games in the last 2 years. It's pointless, right? Even Davante Adams at 29, what is he going to do? We had 2 receivers this year who were over 1,200 yards. Where in the hell am I going to put Davante Adams on this team? So it's not necessary. We just signed a big right tackle last year. We have a ton of money locked up on our left tackle. So these guys it doesn't make any sense. No matter how excited you get, wow, look at the ratings on this guys. You have to understand the salary cap and understand that you can't just plug every hole with the top player available. So it seems pretty obvious. Fred Warner, really, really nice middle linebacker. He's a guy I'm considering, but there's an option that's a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit worse, but I think can actually fit our team a little bit better, again, as I balance the salary cap. So I like Fred Warner. He's a possibility. Von Miller. I'll pause. What do you do here if you're the Lions and you see a 33-year-old, 91 X Factor linebacker? You pass on him, right? We are not paying him. I need linebackers. I need them badly. But here's the thing about Von Miller. He's not a fit for us. He is a run stopper. So actually, I guess he is a fit for us in this franchise. But he's always been more of a speed rush guy. At the same time, here's what I did notice about him. Look at his zone coverage, 56. His man coverage is 46. So you're telling me, on a bad team, you're going to pay a linebacker over $20 million a year to come off the field on third downs? So he's going to play, at best, 2/3 of your snaps, 66% of your snaps, for $20 million while he's 33 years old. You pass on that every single time. Even if you're a good team, I mean, this is a luxury, right? Now, if you want to put him at end and he's going to play every single down, that's a different story. But that's not what we're doing here. So I mentioned we're not after a tackle. We have tackles. I mean, these guys are better than our tackles, but money is tied up. You can't just cut guys left and right, especially when you just sign them to extensions or sign them last year. Roquan Smith is the first target that our Lions are going after. Let's take a look at him. He's a Chicago Bear, right? He's a scheme fit as a field general for us. He's also got a great pass coverage rating, I should say. So covering running backs, sometimes covering even slot receivers, covering tight ends, but mostly running backs, guys out of the backfield, right? That's who your middle linebacker is going to mostly be manned up with. At the same time, though, zone coverage, very, very important thing if you're a team that plays a lot of zone, especially if you're in an online league, right? Because people love to throw over the middle. It's where their line of sight is most focused. So, but Roquan Smith, I think, is a really nice fit for us. By the way, he's another Georgia player. How many Georgia players do we have on this team? Including players that I've drafted. So he is the 4th ranked middle linebacker. He has 89 speed, 90 tackle. I'm not crazy about his block shedding. I do worry about that a little bit, but he's got great hit power to go along with being a big hitter. He's got great pursuit, acceleration. I mean, he can do just about everything. Awareness, 84 is very, very solid. Block shedding is about the only thing here that worries me a little bit. It's got a good injury rating, so he can also strip the ball. I mean, this guy does everything. By the way, his man coverage 71, zone coverage 81. So, I mean, this guy's a fit, right? He's 25. He is a fit. He's a guy we can build our defense around. He's a guy that we can fit under the cap, and a guy that we don't have to, freeze up draft picks. We don't have to go and sort of force the issue here with drafting a middle linebacker. So Roquan Smith is going to be a target of ours for sure. We have some competition, as you can see there. Some pretty good teams. Denver made the playoffs. I believe the Seahawks made the playoffs too. Philip Lindsay, our former running back, we're letting him walk. I don't pay running backs big money. So Vander Esch, again, wasn't really a fit for what we were looking for. I liked Roquan Smith a lot more. Here's Baker Mayfield, by the way, free agent, so he'll have a lot of attention. But I think after he goes, Stafford, who's on the trade block, would be the best available quarterback at this point. So but there's Baker Mayfield. And again, we start getting into kind of these mid-80 players. Christian Kirk is a guy I actually really like, but again, I think we're okay at receiver. I can't drop this kind of money. We're talking $12, $13 million a year here over the course of 4 years. And so it's just not, I really like he can run his short routes so well, but there's just no spot for him. So again, just kind of going through, we're getting into some 84 guys now. I'll let you know the next guy that we're looking at. There's Danny Shelton, who we like to let walk. By the way, getting no activity yet. I'm going to come back to Kareem Jackson in a second because he is on my list, along with Rodney Harrison. Is he related to Rodney Harrison, by the way? Went to Alabama, plays safety. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but I don't think Rodney Harrison went to Alabama. I'm just saying usually those, kids of athletes and so on sometimes get nice scholarship offers, if you know what I'm saying. So let's see. I honestly think that, you know what? The other guys were linemen. So there are a couple linemen I'm looking at. So Connor Williams. Now again, Dakota Reeves is the guy we drafted fourth round last year. He is, I think, 23 years old. He's a 71. So do we want to pay a guy about $6 million a year to get about 5 points of overall? It's tough. I'll be honest and say that it's a much lower priority than going after, say, like the middle linebacker, right? This is not a huge upgrade. I like Connor Williams. I think he would certainly help us, but Dakota Reeves played a lot better. He's not a scheme fit, right? If he was a scheme fit, I would not even be looking at Connor Williams, but I don't know. It's something, again, the problem is that we have to decide now, because look at the Rams have an offer out. So we don't have a lot of time to spend. Another lineman we're looking at, now again, on the right side, we currently have Jonah Jackson, who is about to be a 69 overall. He's 25 years old. And the guy we're looking at here is Ron Leary. So to go from a 69 overall up to a 77, but he's 8 years older. He's a scheme fit too, so they're both scheme fits. And what was he? Ron Leary wants for just 1 year about $6 million. So again, we will have the money, especially if we move Stafford. So the thing here with Ron Leary is that he, and maybe this is our answer here, is that we're not in a rush to make any moves with Ron Leary just yet. Whereas, Connor Williams is, but maybe we just stay out of this one for now, just knowing that, if need be, we can always go get Ron Leary later on, right? So that's an option there. And that's probably what I'm leaning towards. There weren't really any ends that I wanted to go after, again, for the same reasons, right? These guys want, $8-9 million a year. We're getting 10 sacks out of our right end last year. So to me, it's just not a huge necessary thing. Plus, there's some guys at the top of the draft we're looking at. I mentioned Roquan Smith. And so here's the last dilemma. By the way, I wish there were some better free safeties. There's really not. And because I don't want to edit positions, right? This is where this gets a little bit tricky. So I'm looking at Ronnie Harrison, who's 25 and an 81, and Kareem Jackson, who's an 81 as well, but 34. So right off the bat, you're thinking, like, are you nuts? Go after Ronnie Harrison, right? So here's where it gets complicated, though. So Ronnie Harrison, obviously, he's much younger player. He's 25. He is a strong safety, which for us would be a run support scheme fit. And again, I'm not going to edit these guys because it's unfair to the AI teams. So he is at about 2,000 XP, as you can see up in the middle top there. And he's got about 7,000 or 8,000 more points to go to get an upgrade. He needs at least 2 upgrades, though, to become a scheme fit for us. That's going to take at least probably pretty close to the whole season for him. Pretty close, unless I use one of my focus players or something like that on him, which is possible. Hopefully, we could get him to an 81, but the thing is, as you start to bump up run support, that zone could start bumping up too. So we might have to get him to like an 82 or 83. So in short, this guy might never be a scheme fit. And so we would be having this guy for 4 years at about 5 or 6 million a pop. And that's not a bad deal. It's not terrible. And he would probably do just fine with regression as we go. We have a very good regression trainer. I think he's legendary. So, I mean, he'll be able to maintain that all throughout. And he'll improve throughout the entire contract. But it's like you're spending money without getting the most return you could get because he's not going to really ever be a scheme fit. Now, if we look at Kareem Jackson, who's 34, much older, but only wants a 1-year deal, $5.63 million. So it saves us a little bit of money, buys us a little time, and he is just a few thousand points away from potentially being a scheme fit. We could bump. I'm sorry, he already is a scheme fit. My bad. So he is already there. He's about to get a bump up to an 82. So technically, at least this first year, he'll probably be the better player. He's cheaper, and there's no long-term commitment. Not that I would be afraid of a long-term commitment with Ronnie Harrison, but what if a really special player comes along? Now we're kind of stuck with this guy, right? So it opens up a couple things. So the long and short of it is, on the surface, you're thinking, this guy's 25, he's rated the same, of course you go with this guy. But it's not always that easy. Not to mention, look, there's competition for this guy. Bengals and Colts are in. Kareem Jackson has no one else interested. So again, I could wait a little bit potentially. So we could wait until, for instance, we see the combine results or things like this, or, maybe some other hints about who may have a dev trade at safety or something like that. We look a little deeper at the ratings: 86 speed, 82 zone, 78 man. Hit power is good. He can also strip the ball. Injury 85 is probably my biggest concern. That's actually a pretty bad injury rating. So I do worry about that, especially at age 34. Ronnie Harrison is a little bit quicker. He's better zone, but he's worse at man, which I'm actually okay with. I kind of like that better. Because this guy, he'd be at free safety for us. I don't think I even mentioned that, but either of these guys would be at free safety. He's got great hit power, plus being a big hitter, so he could force turnovers. He's undisciplined, so could see maybe some face mask penalties, pass interference, stuff like that. But he's going to stay healthy, it seems. So it's a tough call. I don't know. I can tell you this. It doesn't make a huge difference. I probably do like Ronnie Harrison a little bit more. But just as we're kind of waiting on the guard situation, I mean, this is where our focus is right here, is Roquan Smith. He is the centerpiece of our offseason. I like Fred Warner too, but I don't think he's going to sign with the Colts this first go-around. It's in the yellow. I would be really surprised if a player rated as high as him took a yellow offer. So for Roquan Smith, if we do lose out, we have Fred Warner as a backup, and even Leighton Vander Esch, I should say, as a fit. He's not exactly what I'm looking for. I don't really like he's just not as good of a coverage guy and that kind of thing. But again, he'd be fine. He'd be a huge upgrade for us. So, but he's also going to probably sign. So to me, it kind of came down to, you got to go after one of these guys. I liked Roquan Smith better. And Fred Warner is there as a backup. It's kind of similar to what we're doing at the guard. We'll probably wait and probably lose out on Connor Williams. I'm okay with Dakota on the left side for us. And we'll probably keep an eye and see if Ron Leary can buy us a little time, because I want to try to trade Stafford. I don't want to have to cut him. We have some other players we can cut right now. Even I can probably free up another $8 million or so. So again, that's going to be the plan. I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably just sit on the guards for now. We're going to heavily pursue Roquan Smith, Warner as a backup. And at safety, I don't know. Because like I said, we have a backup plan here. But I do like Ronnie Harrison, so we'd have to kind of see how that looks. And again, the other thing is, we have right now a free safety who's a 76. Is it a huge upgrade? I guess the difference there, though, because you can see if I go to free safety, you'll see him. Jaron Harmon, he's a 76. But we could almost get rid of all of his contract by cutting him. We'd only have to pay a penalty of like $1 million something. So to me, it probably is worth the upgrade to go with a Ronnie Harrison and whatnot. So anyway, we do have to get a punter at some point, but that's not very exciting. So that is the plan. That's kind of where we're going. I see Ryan laughed at something. I don't know what that was about, Ryan. Sorry, that was 20 minutes ago. Hollywood Bud, what's up, man? I wouldn't want to be the Lions head coach. You won't want to be the head coach. I wouldn't be a good head coach. I would be much more interested in the general manager job, but pretty confident I could do that fairly well. I'm not saying I'd be great at it, but I mean, my competition wouldn't be that stiff. Looking at the Lions' history over the years, it's really a shame because, people talk all about, like, there's been a lot of talk in Detroit, about like Jim Caldwell and like, oh my gosh, like, so the story, in case you're not familiar, because I know not everyone follows Detroit, sports news and so on. Everyone's, hating on Matt Patricia. I can't stand him. I don't like him either. I don't think he's a good coach. And everyone's longing for the days of Jim Caldwell and the story is that Bob Quinn fired Jim Caldwell because 9-7 wasn't good enough. That was essentially the quote, or maybe it was an indirect quote, but it was not good enough that he got the team this far, but they needed someone to take them over the top. Truthfully, it's very similar to what the Detroit Pistons did with Rick Carlisle when they brought in Larry Brown, and it worked for the Pistons, right? But that was kind of the idea, and obviously there's a difference between bringing in Larry Brown versus Matt Patricia, right? So anyway, the story goes is that 9-7 wasn't good enough, and of course here we are at the Lions. He's won 11 games in 2.5 years or so, 2.25 years, and it's been a bit of a disaster depending on who you ask. And but there's a lot of people really fired up about Jim Caldwell, and there's a lot of people at the same time. And I like Jim Caldwell. I thought he was a good coach. The players loved Jim Caldwell, but at the same time, like, there is a reason they moved on from Jim Caldwell. He is a kind of 10-6 at best coach, in my opinion. And we don't need to get into that. The whole reason I'm sharing that is there's this whole debate. Everybody's talking so much about Jim Caldwell. We should have kept Jim Caldwell. We should have kept Jim Caldwell. And that's up for debate, I think. However, one person that they don't ever, and there's a lot that's kind of tied even to like, was it a racism thing? Is it a race thing? One thing that's never brought up much with the Detroit Lions is, as far as a story that's very, very similar to that, is the GM that the Lions had after Matt Millen, and it was Martin Mayhew was his name. I really liked Martin Mayhew, and I feel like he did not really get a true shake. And I get it. Hey, when they first announced, like, okay, yeah, Millen's been fired, and Martin Mayhew's stepping in, he was the guy who's worked with Millen. It's like, whoa, no. Like, this is the last thing, right? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what the story is. No one wants to hear that, right? When you get rid of a guy like Matt Millen, to bring in, like, his understudy, basically. It's like, no, this is terrible. But this dude, and I don't even have the list in front of me, but this dude brought in some talent, man. Darius Slay was one of his picks. He and Dominican Sue, I believe, was one of his picks. And again, is it hard to miss on a guy like Sue? He had a second overall pick, but Darius Slay was a second round draft pick. So anyway, I'm amazed that, like, there's not more talk about that, because Bob Quinn, I had a lot more patience for Bob Quinn than I did Matt Patricia, but I'm kind of on board now with Bob Quinn needs to go as well, in my opinion. I don't like the groceries this guy's buying. I just don't understand why we're using second round picks on running backs, why we're using the 8th overall pick on tight ends, after letting a tight end go, who we picked 10th, in Eric Ebron. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. And anyway, but Martin Mayhew is a GM for the Lions, again, post-Millen. Was he the guy? I can't remember if there was anyone in between those two guys. I might be drawing a blank there. But anyway, it's interesting. You never hear about Martin Mayhew. And I believe he went on to work for the New York Giants. I don't even know where he's at now. He might actually be with the Arizona Cardinals, maybe. I forget where he's at. But I really like... I have Facebook rants? I don't even think I even post much on Facebook. Bud, is this like Bud, right? Is this the Bud I actually know, or I don't know who Hollywood Bud is. I don't know if that's the Bud I'm thinking of. I hope it is. I mean, if you see my Facebook rants, it must be. I'm honored that you see my Facebook rants. I don't really Facebook. I probably rant more on here than anywhere, but yeah, what's up, man? All right, that's what I thought. Yeah, so how are you, Bud? I haven't talked to you in forever. I hope you're doing well. I see you. I see you post about Alabama all the time, and that always reminds me, like, oh, Alabama's playing. I should turn that on because there's going to be future Lions in that game somewhere. Like, I turned on Georgia, Alabama simply because I knew there'd be like 3 Lions on the team next year. So, but anyway, yeah, to go back to that Martin Mayhew thing, like, it's weird. Like, that guy had a really, really good track record, and I get it. Like, hey, you come in, and you kind of want to clean house, and you want to, but I just feel bad that he was just too closely tied to Matt Millen, I guess. And Matt Millen, there's no one in this city who deserved to leave town quicker than him. But anyway, okay, yeah, I saw you were going through a bit of like the name update stuff with your streaming and everything. So yeah, it seems like that's going well because you're doing that like full time now. I think that's very cool. This does not pay any bills for me. 0 bills. I can promise that. I'm negative when I pay for all the bills with simsportsgaming.com, and I'm definitely in the red, but it's all right. It's fun. It's a good hobby. But yeah, so there's my rant. There's my rant, Bud, and anyone else. I can rant about the Lions any which way you want. Yeah, I mean, I love them though. It's so weird, right? It's so weird. I love the Lions. It's so pathetic and stupid, and like, I wake up every Sunday like it's Christmas morning, and it's like 6 a.m. and I can't sleep because I'm like, oh my god. And it's like they're like 1-3, and I'm so pumped to watch them. It's so ridiculous. So anyway, but yeah, that's kind of the free agency preview. So I guess if we want, do we want to go through and actually put some offers in? Because there's a whole science really behind that as well. Roquan Smith, but he's our guy for sure. So let's take a look at this again. So he wants 55 over 5 years. So you're looking at about 11-year average, right? It's a lot, but I mean, for an important position, middle linebacker, they're on the field almost every play. He's a guy with his coverage skills, can play just about every down. I mean, and we've had a hole at middle linebacker, at linebacker period, for 2 years in this franchise, and it has sucked. Just watching running backs just gash me. So we're pursuing this guy. I'm just trying to decide how much. By the way, another little side piece really quick as we're playing Madden, but if anyone is interested, Maximum Football 2020 or Maximum Football 20, whatever they call it, a small independent company called Canuck Play has developed this game. You probably have heard of it already, but SimSports Gaming is giving away, I think we have 6 licenses right now. We're giving away license to that game tomorrow. So if you're interested, there's a tweet that SimSports Gaming, it's at SimSports Gaming 9 because somebody had the one with the G at the end. But if you there's a tweet there. If you look at it, it'll show you how to qualify to win one of those. So we're going to be giving those away at some point tomorrow. So anyway, if you're interested, it's really, really cool. One of the developers of that game is part of the SSG community. He's actually in our Out of the Park Baseball League. And so I wanted to make sure I plugged that really quick because that's a really exciting game. It's something I needed to get into myself. I haven't played it a whole lot. And I just got my license today even. So I'm going to be digging into that too. So little side tangent there. So anyway, Roquan Smith. Well, let's see. He wants 5 years. Probably going to get it. So what I like to do sometimes with this is just like, all right, let's just give him what he wants. And let's just see where we stand. So that puts us kind of second. And what's nice about Madden this year, really the last few years, is it's not a guarantee. If I go to 97 points, there's no guarantee I'm going to get him. It's likely, but there's still a decent chance that he will not sign. So it's a mixture, right? Sometimes you want to go to 97 because you're like, damn it, I want to get this guy. Okay, sometimes you might go to like 109 as far as points. You like absolutely want to get him. But in online leagues, I've lost guys. Like I've gone to like 116 and he signed with like the 94 team. And it's like, oh my god. So that can happen. Number two, you also have to be honest with yourself about what you're willing to pay. Don't get into a bidding war, especially when you have a guy like Fred Warner still available, and there's the draft coming up. You don't need to start getting into some kind of bidding war for a guy that, no offense to Roquan Smith, he's an 87. He's a very good player. He's not a world changer. And so as we look at that, so that's putting his cap hit for that first year, 8.32. And of course, that's going to go up a lot over time. So if we just kind of round these numbers, like if we just go to 6.5 and then 5, it's like 11.5-ish per year. We'll probably end up cutting him in the last year of it. So it's really probably more of like a 4-year deal. So if we did something like that, okay, that ties us. I mean, I might as well just go to... Actually, we'll leave that at 5. I can tell you right now, that's about the most I want to do, unless we wanted to just make it like around like, 60 million over 5 years. That would be 12. I'm okay with that. That's plenty. His first year will be 9 million. That leaves us 6 million without even having our cuts. That's it. That's the most I want to go with this guy. That puts us in the lead for him. We'll probably get him. Great. That'll be exciting. So where does that leave us? With about $4 million left. And again, this also takes into account the money that you need to save for your the draftees. Now we have 2 first-round draft picks. That's going to cost something. If you watch some of the earlier game streams, you heard me saying, I'm not trying to lose. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I want to tank and tank for this player and tank for that player. And I want to rebuild. I don't want to do that. And the biggest reason is money. Having the first overall pick is very expensive. For the second year in a row, and actually third year, if you go back to real life with Okuda, the Lions had the 3rd overall pick 3 years in a row. That's not good. I know a lot of people will say it's good in a video game, and it's not real money, right? So I guess it is in a way, but that is not where you want to be building a team. Oh, and by the way, we also have the 32nd pick, which won't be cheap, and the 35th pick, which is our second round pick, which also won't be cheap. So they have set aside, it's something like, 14, or it's either 13, 14, or 17 million, I forget. And by the way, if you want to see that was the loudest sound effect I've ever heard in Madden, at least through my headphones. You can see that here. So if you click on your salary screen, and on the, it's 17.3, look at the top right there, rookie reserve. What that is that's the money they set aside, because this game just auto-signs your rookie contracts for some reason. But that's what your rookies, based on your pick and what you have now, without any trades or anything, what you would end up having to pay. So $17 million of my $33 million in cap space, half of my cap, is being saved for my draft. That sucks. That's not good. So again, you have to kind of look at things a little bit differently. Like, oh, you got the 3rd pick. Awesome. It's not awesome. I would have much rather picked like 12th or 11th, especially in Madden 2, where a lot of those like X-Factor players, they don't always fall in the top 3. I mean, they're falling around like pick 15 or so. So I want nothing to do with that pick. So I'm a little bit bummed about that. So let's see. We're going to go make a couple cuts that we just know for sure we're going to make. There's no sense in waiting around. So I'm not going to cut Stafford yet. So we're going to try to trade him. I'm not going to cut Collins yet, but boy, is he close to getting cut. I'm not going to cut Harmon yet, because I don't want to be left with no safety. That would be bad. Vaitai is going to be gone. So I don't know if that actually helps me. I guess we'll find out. Does that actually save us any money? Let's see. Oops. Yeah, okay, that did save us some money. It saved us about $7 million. Okay, good. Alright, so there was at least one other guy I wanted to cut. Here comes my dog. You gonna come watch this exciting off-season? Come on up, buddy. No, you're just gonna lick my knee? That's cool. All right, let's see. Oh, sorry, savings. That's where we need to be sorting. So no, no, no. So I can't cut Harmon yet until we have a safety. And I don't really want to cut Collins yet until we have the linebacker. So it's funny, like, we're going to have plenty of money. I just can't free it up yet, and we'll have plenty of money after we move Stafford too. So, I mean, I could cut Stafford right now. There's no risk to it. I'm just hoping someone gives us an offer. I guess if we need money for free agents, then we'll just do it. Because again, if we look at the quarterback list here, come on up, bud. Come on, come on. Come here. There you go. You say hi? Come on, camera. Here, come over here. Come say hi. Come here. Why are you gonna be shy? Come here. Come here, you goof. Come here. No? She thinks I'm up to something. She's just staring at me like I'm about to like give her a shot or something. Anyway, so yeah, so look, you can see Stafford here would be the next best quarterback. And was he the same age as Kaepernick? Or no, I guess Kaepernick's probably a couple of years younger because we're into the future at this point. But you got Trubisky, and yeah, I mean it's kind of slim pickings after Baker Mayfield. Only one team, and they had Denver had Kaepernick in my franchise, so they have looks like they're wanting to move on from Kaepernick and move on to Mayfield there. All right, so what do we do with this $8 million we have left? To me, I'd rather prioritize this free safety upgrade. I'm sorry, well, the strong safety we're going to play there, and I think we are going to go after Ronnie Harrison. But I don't need to get too crazy, because again, there's a backup here. He wants 4 years, so let's just give him what he wants and see what it looks like. So that definitely puts us pretty close. I'm totally fine going up to 6, but that's probably going to be it for me. He's probably even worth a little bit more than that, but I just don't. And again, I guess if we could go to 24 over 4 years at 6. Okay with that. It's probably only going to be about 3 years. I really, really want to get a dominant safety, though, is the problem. And like that kind of ties us up, right? We just sign him for 2? Like, how many? What if I gave him 12 over 2? Does he like that at all? No, he does not like that. Let's negotiate just to see what he's going to look like. So, oh my gosh, this is so cheap. Okay, so I can't. Oh, that's because I have an offer. So let's withdraw that offer. Okay, yeah, let's see, like, how cheap could we get this guy? Like, can we put this down to like 2.5? Just call it an even 5? Yeah, probably. I don't know, guys. I'm almost kind of thinking like we just go the cheap side. Andrew says, don't do it. He's the best safety in a weak free agent class. Don't do what? I may just be late seeing that comment. So this guy just kind of works as a stopgap. Don't sign Harrison or Jackson to move to... Okay. Interesting. So you're just saying just to kind of sit tight for now. And I guess we don't have to do... I mean, as long as Kareem Jackson is still sitting there, we don't have to do anything. So yeah, maybe we don't need to force the issue here. And then maybe same thing with our guards. I don't really need to sign 2. I mean, we could, but I always like to leave a spot open for the draft. Because what if you sign both those guards? You're like, oh yeah, I need 2 guards. Okay, but what if you just stumble across one in the draft, or one falls to you that's just really good, you don't want to pass on it? So now what? Now you're stuck and you have all this money tied up at guard. I like to leave a spot open, right? So I would rather only fill one of these holes, and really, we might only have one hole, because I really like Dakota Reeves there, who you can see, our 4th-round pick. He's not a scheme fit, he's a power guy, but sometimes it's nice to have a power guy in your line, because when you really need to get that short yardage run or something, just run behind that guy. He's massive, and just bowls people over. So I really like Reeves starting. It would be an upgrade over Jonah Jackson is what we're looking at. But I think for the same reason that Andrew is saying that we don't really need to rush on the safety, because it's not even a really good fit anyway. Ron Leary is not getting any offers just now. He's 33, and he might. But as far as this first week, I don't really think we need to do anything. I honestly think the only thing we need to be doing is this. It's just Roquan Smith. And we start there. I mean, I'm looking through. Like I said, I need a punter, but I'm not, like, we need a nickel back, but I'm not paying a nickel back $5 million right now when there's a ton of good corners in this draft that we can probably even get up into like the 3rd round or so. Michael says he's 34 gross. I get that, but like, dude, there's value, man. It's just, again, it kind of goes back to like the old Moneyball stuff when you look at baseball, and that, like, there's value. And especially in an online league, which I know most of you play in, right? There's value in a guy like Kareem Jackson, because everyone in your league is going after Ronnie Harrison because he's 25 and he's the sexy, strong safety that you need, who's young and you can develop. And what about this guy? You can probably pay him half the money by the time your league's done running this guy up. And yeah, Ronnie Harrison is going to be around for a few years, but that could be a bad thing too. Again, he's not going to be a scheme fit for me because I'm not going to edit his position because I don't feel like that's fair to the AI teams. And so this guy's going to just kind of float around like an 82 and 83, which is solid. But like, you can find those guys just about anywhere. Not to mention, if we get a trade for Stafford, I mean, maybe there's a position there we could swap. And, the worst thing, again, there was, guys, let me just show you. I mean, there was a safety I passed on. And we took our quarterback instead, and I'm okay with it because I really like our quarterback. But there was a safety that I was going to pick. Ooh, was it with our 2nd pick? I think it was. Well, I can tell you right now, because we picked our quarterback. So here, this will be an interesting thing to see. So Nick Escobar was the 3rd quarterback off the board last year. He's only a normal dev, but he played really, really well for us. And so he was picked 35th, 2nd round, 3rd pick, right? So that's 35. 2nd round, 3rd pick. Now, there was a safety that the Dolphins ended up grabbing that I really liked, and I had him scouted, and he had a little story about him and everything, and I was like, this guy could be pretty good. And I passed on him because I had just extended Jerron Harmon, who, by the way, was like an 81 overall, right? Kind of a dime a dozen safety. Deontay Sykes is who I passed on, I believe. Let me see when he was picked. So he's 22. He's already a 78, and he's a star. He had a sack. He had 94 tackles as a rookie. It's a pretty good rookie year. So he was picked right after, 4 picks after I picked the quarterback. And the reason I passed on him was because I had Jerron Harmon. I was okay at safety. So the story with that is this. When you're in your online league and you're all fighting over a guy like Ronnie Harrison, who's a good player, but you're all fighting over this guy, and you're saying, well, I'm fighting over this guy because this guy's gross, right? Kareem Jackson's gross because he's 34. I don't know. The thing is with Kareem Jackson, if you sign him to a 1-year deal and no one else is after him, he can either A, start for you, or worst case, you're only out about $2.5 million. You could cut the guy if you wanted. Or he's just there to play backup. He could play as your a dime middle linebacker. He could play in a nickel as a linebacker. He can play in a nickel, a big nickel. So there's still a role. And so to me, it might be better to sign a guy like this. Again, if you're looking at the draft or over the next 4 years, if you think you can find a safety later on who could end up being much better than Ronnie Harrison. But I think for now, I kind of like the plan that Andrew's talking about, which is as long as no one's putting an offer on Kareem Jackson, there's no reason for me to get all crazy and start throwing offers at Ronnie Harrison. The exact same thing we're doing with the guards. I like Connor Williams, but I like Dakota Reeves too. So we're going to stick with Reeves. I would like to get a guard, but we don't have to just yet. Jonah Jackson's not terrible. And right now, let's just see how things go. I mean, I guess the other thing is we do have the money. We could just get Ron Leary right now. But, he's 33. I mean, I get it. He's a little older, but I don't know. The age thing doesn't bother me. It's a one-year deal. I mean, he'd be a starter for us. I guess the point is what if we do come across a good guard? But as I just explained with the safety, I guess it'd be the same thing. We'd be out about $2 million if need be. And injuries happen. The beauty of Madden this year is, offensive linemen do get hurt again, so it's kind of a good thing. Yeah, and Andrew, that's exactly what I'm thinking about Jackson, just being like a one-year stopgap. Or again, he can fill in a big nickel, things like that. So I think the only question at this point is, do we go after Ron Leary at this point? We look at his ratings here. Because let's think about how many. We're going to get at least 3 starters out of this draft. We have the 3rd pick, we have the 32nd, and we have the 35th. Those are 3 starters. And so let's think about where those guys might be. Or perhaps even as important, where they may not be. So I can tell you this, probably won't be a quarterback. There's a small chance, because I do think the best player in the draft may be a quarterback, and I'm kind of scared to pass on him. So potentially a quarterback. It will not be a running back. It most likely won't be receiver again. These guys both had 1,200 yards receiving. This guy's a rookie, 3rd-round pick, had 1,200 yards last year. We're okay at receiver. We're okay at tight end. I have too much money tied up in tackles. I'm not picking an interior lineman. Certainly not with the 1st pick. So there is the potential that we could get a guard. So that's a reason not to pick up, Leary just yet. End is an absolute possibility, as we talked about, because Flowers is going to be on the left, and we have some guys who I like, but again, aren't like world beaters. Hand goes to the inside at defensive tackle, along with Toller. Linebacker, definitely a need, even if we were to go sign Roquan Smith, because we could cut Jamie Collins and so on. Corner, definitely a possibility. Safety. So, I don't know. Leary's a toss-up. But we don't have to decide right now. I guess that's the beauty of it. No one has an offer on this guy. So, why push it, right? So Andrew's saying he agrees, but I don't know if I call him cheap O-line depth. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. This is one of the reasons why one of the moves I did like what Bob Quinn did, as much as I liked Graham Glasgow, is letting him walk. There's, if you, again, advanced metrics of football and, kind of the PFF scores and all this other stuff that you can look at for players. And interior linemen are, number one, they can be very replaceable unless you're talking about top-end guys, right? Very, very replaceable. And it's not a position you really want to be dropping, $12 million a year on a guy. And this is why the Lions let Graham Glasgow walk. As good of a player as he was one of the top-rated guards, run blocking guards in the league last year, even though our run game was terrible. And they let him walk. And they have a rookie now, Jonah Jackson, actually, who's performed really, really well. And again, looking at advanced metrics for a rookie, he's done a very nice job. And he makes peanuts compared to what the Broncos are paying Graham Glasgow. So point being, I don't know if I consider Ron Leary cheap at $6 million. It'd be a good deal for a tackle, right? But I think right now I'm okay. I think we just wait. There's no reason to have to push it. So I think this is it, guys. We're going to try and sign Roquan Smith. And just like last year, we only signed that Taylor Motton, or whatever, the right tackle. He's the only guy we got. I think we get a look at the draft this time, too. So, okay, there he is. Got him. We have a linebacker for the first time since probably Chris Claiborne. All right, no, I take that back. Stephen Tulloch was a damn good signing for the Lions. By the way, I think a Martin Mayhew acquisition. I think. Yeah, it was, because I believe Bob Quinn's first... I think it was, because his first pick was Taylor Decker, and then the next year was Jared Davis, or vice versa, I forget. Anyway, Jared Davis has always been a little linebacker since Bob Quinn's been here essentially, but Stephen Tulloch, Chris Claiborne. Okay, so we got our guy. We gotta go see what it looks like on the Lions roster here. I mean, this is exciting. Look how much damn money we're gonna give this guy. There he is. And hey, by the way, who won the division in the NFC North? The Chicago Bears. So this is actually a really nice signing when you think about that. And there's like, I mean, that's a measurable thing you can look at, right? You can stop and look and say, well, we paid this guy. We're going to be paying him some good money here. He's making $11 million a year. But you took a 25-year-old scheme fit linebacker away from the best team in your division last year, the team that is one of your rivals that you're trying to chase after. You made yourself better, which is worth the $11 million, but it's you basically get him on sale because it's also making your opponent worse. Now, for whatever reason, they chose not to re-sign him. Let's see what the Bears are doing at middle linebacker. But when you see a move like that, it's more than just kind of what you see on the surface, right? Look at this. This is what they have. They have Donald Payne as their middle linebacker at this point. This is a really good signing for my Lions here. I'm going to have to change the name of this stream. This is not the same old Lions kind of... Well, this will be the same old Lions move if we sign this guy and he just turns into trash or gets hurt, gets arrested, or whatever. Whatever else could possibly happen to Roquan Smith. He decides to retire early after his 9th year like Barry and Calvin. So, but I am pretty excited to have Roquan Smith in the mix here. Very, very excited. So now what I want to look at, and then we'll take a look at scouting. You guys, a lot of you probably haven't seen how the scouting's kind of shaping up here. And I think we might have the combine results. Okay, so let's take a look at those positions we were keeping an eye on. Okay, so the guard is gone. Now, there's still a decent guard here, but he's not really a scheme fit, although, yeah, he's 40,000 points away. It's not going to happen. So he's not a skin. Not that it really matters, again, but I'd rather have an agile guard. I don't mind having one power guard. These centers, to me, they're just a little bit undersized. I mean, these guys are barely over 300 pounds. So Ron Leary, still there, no offer. Cool. That's what I was hoping to see. So now we're looking at our safeties. Okay, so the one safety did sign, Kareem Jackson, still there, no offers. So let's see where he went. So Ronnie Harrison goes to the Bengals. Sean Williams to the Bears. All these kickers signing. Holy cow. Lots of kickers getting jobs. One punter gets a job. By the way, my punter made the Pro Bowl. I let him walk. I don't pay punters. Punters, fullbacks, running backs probably. Running backs mostly, almost always. You're not getting paid by me, sorry. You're extremely replaceable. Baker Mayfield does go to the Broncos, so probably not a huge surprise there. Oh, it's Josh Lowe. I thought it was Jordan Lowe. Halfbacks, just Rashawn Penny so far. Patrick Ricard, he's the best fullback, goes with the Giants. Mike Williams goes with the Patriots. Nothing to really report there. Alejandro Villanueva goes to Washington. Connor Williams goes to the Rams, as we were expecting. Nothing really to report there. Mike McGlinchey goes to Washington. They've signed a couple big players so far. Brian O'Neill goes to the Chiefs. Still some big players who have not been signed. Von Miller goes to the Bengals. Bengals have made a couple nice signings. Okay, so, wow. Fred Warner did sign that contract. Oh my God, I think they got him cheaper than I got my guy. 5 years, $52 million. Oh man. See, I'm a terrible guy. I should be fired. Dang, Colts. Wow. Well, I didn't think he'd sign. It was yellow, so that's why he was a backup plan for me. I didn't even think at all he'd sign. But boy, good thing we got our guy because both these guys signed. Vander Esch goes to the Dolphins. Oops. Harold Landry goes to the Steelers. Yeah, this guy played for me last year. Quincy Williams, good player. Good coverage linebacker. Yeah, so there you have it. So if we go and look at the top available, there's still some really good players. No one's going after Devontae Adams at all. It's weird. J.J. Watt's got some interest. Mitchell Schwartz. No one wants Philip Lindsay. This is how we got him. He just was sitting there in free agency. So I said, all right. Maybe he will be back. He's a good player. I don't think I can see his stats, though. One of the weird, goofy things about Madden, right? Why would I want to see a player's stats before I offer him tens of millions of dollars? Nah, that's fine. Just don't worry about it. Just assume he's good. Here's the scouting report. Yeah, lots of good players. Lots of good players, but happy keeping our money in the bank for now. So let's take a quick look at where scouting is at this point. Again, just to kind of show you our draft board of what it's looking like. So these guys are all ranked in order by scouted rounds, so like the actual round talent, and then also like the level of that round, right? So there's early, mid, and late. These guys are all rated in the order based on that. Tiebreakers, I kind of just decide maybe based on position of interest, or whether they've had something like a draft story, which, oh, by the way, let's go look and see if there's any new draft stories. Always make sure you're checking this every week. I don't like to get into the whole, like, I know there's like things out there that you can, type in the ratings and it'll tell you what player is doing this and that. To me, like, what's the point? Like, I'm trying to play this. I want it to be a challenge. It's already easy enough to build a team. So I don't do that, but there are a lot of interesting clues in these, and what I'm noticing is they don't always just match up. It's not always a guarantee that they're going to be anything good. So let's see. Donovan Reed. Best day. So Donovan Reed did not have a good combine. Ohio State defensive lineman Moorhead was not in this. So we have two guys, so Moorhead and Reed, who had pretty bad combines. Let's see if those guys are on our list here, just to keep track of where they're at. I don't remember these guys. Moorhead or Reed we're looking for. Okay, so here, I haven't even scouted. So Darius Moorhead is an end, but he's more of a 3-4 end. So glad I didn't waste the points on him, because he will not be a really good fit for us. Moorhead and who's the other one? Reed, right? Reed. Looking for a guy named Reed. Assuming plays defense. Or Red, right? It's Donovan Red. So he had a bad workout. So he is on our board. He's the fastest corner in the draft, Donovan Reed. He's only 21. He's an early first. So boy, that's an interesting one. We can start there, because I had him pretty high on our board, right? So we're picking third. I guess we wouldn't really run the risk of picking him. And I guess maybe that solidifies things a little bit more. But I can tell you this, I would pick Brandon Nichols over him, even though he's slower and doesn't maybe have the combine. But having a bad combine report like that can be a little scary. But they said he didn't have a good bench. He is the second highest. And he's a scheme fit. I don't know. I think I would still pick Donovan Reed. Now I'm so paranoid, because honestly, that's going to be the player that's going to probably fall to me, right? So we're picking third. You can see there. This is so here's what I'm curious to see. This quarterback is not a scheme fit. We have a strong arm quarterback, but he's a scrambler, and he has A+ throwing power. So to me, that tells me a couple things. One, he's obviously a scrambler, but A+ throwing power, he could be very, very close to being a scheme fit for us. By the way, he could also probably move around. His 40-yard dash is not actually that quick, so I can tell you right now, I will probably pass on him. If he had like some crazy like 4.4 speed or something crazy like that, he's got really good agility and whatnot. He probably still will be really, really good. But I don't know. I'm okay with the quarterback we have. He played really, really well. So as crazy as it is, I would probably put Donovan Reed. I might even put Brandon Nichols. We need a corner. Don't need a tackle. Here's another safety, by the way, early first, but comes back a little bit slow. I'd probably pick him over a defensive tackle at this point. That's the last of the early. So, boy, it's weird. Donovan Reed, that speed, that'd be nice. There are some really fast receivers in Madden, and I never have a good matchup. Like, Okuda's good. He's not blazing fast, though. I don't understand. Why did Donovan Reed's report look so bad? Hang on, guys. I'm going to step away for 2 seconds. Sorry about that. All right, so where were we? Yeah, so I want to look at this Donovan Reed story here. Not Donovan Reed's best day. But see, what that probably tells me, though, is that he's just normal dev. So, I don't know. It's not the end of the world like it used to be in Madden. I mean, I had the best player in the draft last year. We picked him at 31, but he was normal dev. But he made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. So, here's what I'm kind of looking at. Because I remember one of these guys had... I don't know, I guess it wasn't them. I was thinking this guy with the high awareness. High awareness usually means they have a high overall. But that could also be a clue that maybe they don't have a good dev trait. Right? So it's kind of a toss-up. Whereas this guy doesn't have a high awareness, but has better ratings, and is probably going to have a dev trait. Donovan Reed, that man coverage and press with that speed, like, this guy's hard to pass up. But what do you do? You know, I mean, this guy's got... man, I don't know. He's got some... That report, I would have this guy really high on my list, actually. Let's take a look at some of the other guys, what they got. So, hang on a second, guys. There's a bug I'm trying to catch. That's why I keep walking away. I just saw it again. No such luck. Got away again. All right, anyway. So, Pat Christmas, this is the guy again. He could be a defensive end for us. He'd also... I mean, he would honestly be a bit of a Khalil Mack player is what I was thinking. His scores aren't looking great. Again, he's got that high overall. I don't know. This is super tough. Like, if Donovan Reed didn't have that negative report, he would be moving really high with my list. I've wanted to get a speedy corner. But that report has me so worried. Let's look at Greg Wilkins. He's got a good shuttle. He's strong. I still like Greg Wilkins a lot. It's tough between these two. Because it probably will be going defense. There's the chance Brandon Nichols could be the best corner, too. Tough decisions. So, But again, that kind of gives you a quick look at just the top of the draft. I did definitely find a few diamonds too, which I'll show you here. So guys that we can probably grab later on. And again, these are all guys just based on the order of what they were scouted as. So let's see. So again, there's a speed rush option later on in the draft. Let's see what Marshawn Hartwell. So if we wanted to pass on that end in the beginning, this guy's actually pretty comparable, but he's older, 23. It looks to be a decent player. Rich Nicky could play guard. He's got decent size. Oh, he's got a really good bench press. So again, this is, I would much rather grab this guy and put him at right guard. Or left guard and move Dakota Reeves to right guard or whatever. So he'd be a decent fit. Here's another corner. Strong, decent speed. We're looking at tackle. Deontay Bush, another speed rusher. He's got definitely jump for 6'1". Could also play linebacker probably. He's going to be a little bit slow for linebacker. Ooh, Rashard Britton has a really nice combine. And that speed's not slow. I mean, 4.45 is not slow. Super athletic player. That bench press being a slot archetype too. I mean, he's going to have a nice press, you'd think. Steve Russell, 6th round projected talent, but early 2nd. The great bench press. So again, this is a guy you could grab later on and just create a really nice situation at defensive tackle. A lot of depth there. There's a lot of corners in this draft. A ton of corners. I'm so scared. I love that. Was it Red? Was that his name? I love that corner. But that report has me so... I would be ready to pick him. But I'm so paranoid that it's like... I mean, there's a good chance he's a normal dev anyway, but... I don't know. That just about seals it that he is. At least I think. I don't know. I haven't examined it, so... This guy's got good speed, good size, can jump. He's good. John McCord looks like a good player. But hit power, that's kind of a weird first trait. It's not really that important at the defensive end. He's a little too big to play linebacker for me. All these damn corners, man. There's just a ton of them. A couple running backs we found that we can grab late. Look at this, John McClellan. This is why I don't spend a lot of money on running backs, right? 6th round, 2nd round talent out of Harvard. Can certainly come in, and he'll probably be the next DeAndre Swift for us. Swift will play out his contract and see you later. I'm not paying you $7 million a year. Here's another one. Xavier Dillard. Same thing. Elusive back out of Ohio State. Great. You're a little slow. So maybe that tells me I'd rather go with John McClellan, who's not fast, but he's faster. Definitely more agile, too. Another guard. Yeah, he'd be fine. He's a pass protector, though. Oh, let's see. Again, receivers. Guys we can probably grab later on. His metrics aren't looking terrific, though, but there's a bunch of tight ends I still want to take a look at, too. We will need to figure out something with Hawkinson. So, anyway, that's where things are at here with the start of Season 3 and the same old Lions. So, we went over a lot. We did an entire season recap at the beginning of this, looking at standings, stats, etc. Went through really the whole free agent philosophy that I'm trying to use. Talked about the real life Lions a little bit. Plugged Martin Mayhew, who, hey, I don't think Lions fans appreciated what he's done enough. And took a little preview again at the what the latest and greatest is looking like for the draft. So I'm kind of thinking the next episode it's going to be the draft. I didn't stream it last time because I've been super busy with work and didn't have a chance to sit down and actually I was kind of doing it in piecemeals, like in between breaks or on lunch and stuff like that. And so I think for this next episode, though, I think we're going to do the draft because there's not going to be a whole lot more activity going with free agency for me. can see the draft there is a few stages away, so I'll give a quick recap of what happened in free agency at the start of that episode. And then, yeah, I think we'll do the draft next. So maybe tomorrow? Maybe? What's tomorrow? Tuesday? If not, yeah, tomorrow maybe. I'm going to the driving range tomorrow with some buddies, so it just depends on the time of all that. And then Wednesday certainly a possibility. So one of the next 2 days we're going to do the draft. So that'll be episode 2. Again, hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified when these are going on, and you can find me on Twitter at MichaelLowe47. These sliders I'm using, even though we didn't do gameplay in this episode, they're up on Operation Sports, so check those out. And if you're interested in a license for Maximum Football, we're giving away 6 licenses tomorrow. Sim Sports Gaming Twitter account, make sure you check out that tweet there for the information on how to qualify for that. And we'll announce those, I don't know, probably just do like one every hour, or I don't know, something like that. I don't know how we're going to do those just yet. So yeah, that's the latest. I appreciate you guys checking everything out. I did not catch my bug yet, unfortunately. Here in SoCal, you get some cockroaches running around, or like once a year, or like twice a year, I'll see a cockroach just like, ooh, just like run across your floor. And you start to not be alarmed by them. They're pretty harmless, but I don't kill bugs. I'm a wimp with bugs. Like I love animals too much. So the problem is I could just smash the damn thing, but I try to catch it, which is super hard. So try to catch it in like a tissue, or actually Tupperware I've used actually works really well. But I didn't catch the little stinker this time, so we'll find them. So let's see. Yeah, Beckford, Michael's asking real quick. I want to check that too. He's talking about the Heisman winner. I believe he was a defensive back. So, that could be a good fit, right? So it was, or was he a lion? What the hell was this guy? Donovan Red. I want to draft you so bad, but I'm so scared. Where is he? This guy, Morgan Beckford. This is the guy who won the Heisman. Texas A&M, he's 21. He's a mid-first. So we're not really in a position to grab him. If he falls to our 31st overall pick, oh yeah, I would definitely pick him, especially having won the Heisman. He's a scheme fit. He's 21. And we would go from having like some of the worst linebackers in the league to a couple of the best, which would be super exciting. So, it's interesting. It is interesting, that's for sure. Yeah, lots to think about. Checking the chat here real quick. Michael asks if you can press R1 to see stats. I didn't know you could. Let's see. Yeah, I had no idea you could do that. So I take it back if you can. Let's see. So you're saying I can click on R1. I guess I gotta click in here and then R1. R1? Is that what you said? Oh, I was thinking R3. Yeah, no, R1, there's no stats here. Right? I mean, so you can see like, I'm talking like actual statistics, not ratings. You can see ratings here. I'm talking statistics, which aren't always in line with one another, right? Again, I mean, we missed the beginning of the stream. We had a rookie receiver on our team who, when we drafted, was, I don't know, a 71 overall, or something like that. He was our 3rd round pick, Pierre Griffin. I think he's had, 2 upgrades? I don't know, 2 or 3. Maybe 69 or 70 when we got him. And he was 3rd in rookie offensive player of the year voting, 1,200 yards, 83 catches. Led our team in catches, was 2nd in yardage behind Galladay, but just a little bit, and played about 200 snaps less than Galladay. Galladay had 10 touchdowns, he had 5. But I mean, this guy right here, I mean, so again, like there's ratings and then there's stats, right? And so you might look at this team and say, oh, you need to get a receiver. And I'd say, no, I don't. We had 2,500 yards between these two guys, just doing just fine at receiver. One guy's a nice big body guy who can run good short routes. Pierre Griffin's a guy who can just burn deep, 96 speed. So they worked out really, really well. Anyway, that was a long way of saying that was the last thing I'm going to check here. So again, subscribe. I appreciate you guys checking this out. It's a lot of fun. I like shooting these ideas off of y'all, and Again, hopefully this helps you, not just for Madden, right, but just kind of talking about, the life and job of a general manager, right? Just managing the salary cap and things like this. Because, I mean, it sounds corny, but these are skills you can apply to your everyday life, too. It's not just about playing a game. Understanding finance is a huge thing. You can put yourself in a really, really nice position by understanding some really simple things about how finances work. And so, truthfully, I work in higher education, and truthfully, our country collectively, I used to be a high school teacher even, collectively, we don't do a very good job teaching finance. And so, one of the best ways I've learned finance is literally through playing sport games like this, and playing games like out of the park baseball and even front office football and things like this, where you kind of learn like, oh, okay, that's what a signing bonus does, and that's what happens when you cut a player 1 year into a 7-year contract, and just understanding how things can work like that. So anyway, I've already said the whole spiel. I appreciate you guys checking this out. I'm Mike Lowe. I'll see you next time. It'll probably be tomorrow or Wednesday. So again, thanks for watching.